Hello everyone, and welcome to a game between the Viper and St4rk. So this is a rather old game. It's back from Masters of the Arena 3, and I wanted to cast it, one, because it's a Byzantines war, and I like the Byzantines, and two, because in this game, Viper is going to go for a fast Imperial Age, and that's a fun strategy, so I figured I'd just go back and watch this rec again, and make a video about it. Now, I think when most people think about a fast imp, the first thing that comes to mind is the Turks with their gunpowder units. They don't need to research chemistry, so they can just go up to the Imperial Age and immediately make gunpowder units. But the Byzantines also can pull this off, and I think they can actually be better at it because they have really good monks. Now, when we look at the monk techs in the technology tree, see over here at the monastery. In the Castle Age, the three important ones are Redemption, so they can convert siege and buildings, Atonement, so they can convert other monks, and Sanctity, so that they get plus 15 hit points. Sometimes Heresy matters. Fervor was broken in the in AOC, so you don't research it there, and Herbal Medicine, that doesn't matter at all. And then they have all of the important Imperial Age techs for extra range. Group of monks can convert a unit and only one has to regain their faith, and they regain faith faster. So really good monks for the Byzantines, and also they have a bonus that they advance to the Imperial Age. That advance is cheaper and doesn't cost as much food and gold. So great civ for going for that fast Imperial Age. And against someone who is in the Castle Age, there really is not a great Castle Age counter to Imperial Age monks. Yeah, you do have Light Cav, but Byzantine monks actually, since they heal faster, Light Cav can be really hard to use against monks because they can't kill the monks in time since they're all healing each other. But anyway, Viper's going to show off this build, and it starts off normal. You put your standard 6 on sheep, then go out to do the lumber camp, and we see St4rk here in the purple as the Byzantines also doing the same thing. 6 on sheep, then goes out to the lumber camp. And St4rk actually, if we look at his map, gold and stone both in the back, as well as the berries. His extra stone is in the back. He has both extra golds in the back of his base. That one gold is forward, and his other gold is outside of his base, but 3 relics right there. And overall, I would really like this map for St4rk. I think it's a pretty good map for him. Viper, meanwhile, see nothing in the back of his base but a couple of wolves. Even has to delete walls to get to his sheep. All of his resources pretty much forward. Like literally all of them. All the ones that can be outside of his base are outside of his base. Half of his deer are outside. Berries are forward. So the only nice thing is he does have the extra berries. So we'll probably see him take those. We've seen him 6 on sheep, 4 on wood, hunt the poor, send the next villager to build a house and then a mill. And hopefully he'll garrison that villager so it doesn't die. There we go. And yep, everything's pretty much standard from him. As we see St4rk here luring in a boar. We saw him, must have messed something up because he just sent all those villagers to build a house. And lost a villager to the... Move away, pretend we didn't see that. So let's look at an actually well-functioning economy here as Viper is putting the mill on the berries. He'll send the 3rd villager over to that berry patch, and then I imagine the next one will go to hunt that boar. As he is gathering up these sheep from the back of his base, moving them under the TC. And we'll see, heading over to the berries, we'll see if that guy, yep, goes right out to that boar. Oh, it looks like he had to pause or something at all. Pulling a back. Good thing that he paused before he started luring the boar and not afterwards. And you might need to shoot that a 3rd time, it was kind of distracted a bit. Yeah, and he's doing that as well. As you saw, the boar kind of walked to the side a bit after the first shot, because it immediately lost its aggro, so he had to shoot it a 3rd time. It's always something you gotta pay attention when you're... Oh, garrison, don't die. And, ooh, perfect. That was really well done by the Viper. The villager, he wanted to get the boar underneath the town center, so he took that villager and walked it around the back and didn't garrison until it was over here, so it would run underneath the town center to get to the other villagers and not behind it. So really great to keep track of the distance between that villager and the boar and make sure that it doesn't die there. And now we see around 19 pops when you start going out to your second lumber camp, 18, 19 pop. And so everything from him pretty much standard so far as he's pushing in some deer. We'll see if he goes for these or not. You can do a nice little trick where you push the deer into the gate and then open the gate with the scout, so you don't even need to use a sheep to hold it open. We see now 2 farms, pretty standard. And Stark, meanwhile, other than that corpse, and oh look, his second boar isn't even under his town center, so not the cleanest of Dark Ages for Stark, and he's down. At least it's only 1 villager, as a bit of a doubtler there on that deer. Will he get it underneath the town center, or will it run away? His scout's moving up, and he pushed it that way. And he's just going, oh, it's going to walk back and go under the town center. Oh, that is really nice. Oh, perfect. And so Viper does have 1 relic. This one, even that one's a bit closer to Stark. So the great thing about the Fast Imperial Age is when you go for the early monks, you can really get some early map control and take over the relics. Unless the opponent has light cav out on the map right from the start, you should have a nice early advantage, because if they go for a monk rush, you will win pretty much hands down just because you have +3 range. And we see Viper's going to delete the wall to push in those deer. And if we see all these resources on the front, it might be a good way for Viper to secure the resources on the front of his base, at least at the beginning of the game, so that he's not pushed off of them right from the start. And nice deer coming in. We'll see if this deer lure is a bit better than Stark's. The annoying thing about pushing in deer is when you try to push them in from the top side of the town center, because you have to get them around this little 4x4 block. And we see Stark will go up first on 25 population, so that's really a 26 population build. Viper will go up a villager later on 27 population. So again, something that seems pretty standard. You might see some of those Turk fast imps where you really give away in the Dark Age that you're going for a fast Imperial Age, but because you're in the Dark Age for maybe until about 30 population or so, then only click up after that. But with the Byzantines, just 27 pop, you don't need that much economy because your Imperial Age is cheaper. So 2 on gold. Now Viper always likes to put 5 on berries. That's something even in some of his old Huns Wars, you see him put 5 on berries. I like to do that if you get a nice like L-shape berry, then you can put 5 or 6 on them, but these ones, I think most players, you probably see them go for 4. But not that huge of a difference. We see a nice 4 in each lumber camp. 4 on berries while that one goes to build the house, and pushing in the rest of the deer, so we got all 4 of the deer. Hasn't used the extra berries yet, but he might do that later. And so 27 population, that's, 26, 27 is pretty much the most standard build you can do on Arena. Here's the first thing that might look a bit non-standard, is sending that 3rd villager to gold this early. Again, you don't need that 200 gold. Well, you only need 200 gold to click up to the Castle Age, so if you don't do Loom, you really only need 2 on gold. We'll see if Stark actually is able to scout that. No, he's not going to be able to see that. And we see Viper is up and quickly going for the market and blacksmith. And the one thing that Viper does here is he makes 3 villagers in the feudal age, and he does double bit axe. So that's something that isn't what you normally would do. Normally you just make 2 villagers and then do double bit axe after you've clicked up. But here he's, well, 27 pop already gives you a pretty big economy, and he's just going to make that 3rd villager. I guess he wants the extra villager working because he's going to go straight up to the Imperial Age. The other option would probably be to make 3 villagers while you're in the Castle Age instead of in the Feudal Age. I'm not actually sure which is more efficient, but he's probably thought about this and planned for that. But now we see lots of villagers over on a gold, because you need the gold to click up to the Imperial Age. He's going back to take the extra berries and adding in farms around the town center. We have these 2 farms that are about to run out from the Dark Age as the scouts are fighting. And let's see who wins. Looks like it's going to be very close. And the winner is Viper. the hacks winning the scout fight. Stark's like, shit, he did not want to lose that scout. Yes. And then gold mining research complete. We see Stark with a lot of villagers on gold. That probably indicates he's going for a monk rush. So you'd see that for a monk rush. So again, even if that is scouted, nothing that seems out of the ordinary here. The only thing that your opponent might notice would be the 3 villager feudal age instead of the 2 villager feudal age. And let's see here, these berries are about to run out, so he's just adding in some more farms. As his Dark Age farms are going to start running out. Generally you build like 3 farms in the Dark Age, then start adding in some more later. And what does he do with these idle villagers? Sends them over to wood. You okay? And so as you're going up to the Castle Age, you want to start thinking about what are the buildings that you want to make. One, if you're going for monks, of course, you need to make that monastery. And 2, if you're going for the Imperial Age, the Byzantines do need chemistry to make bombard cannons, so you want to make that university so you can do chemistry. And here's the villager, as Stark is going for monks. Has Viper seen that? Nope, 1 tile away from seeing the monastery. Ooh, Scout did get hit by the villager, but he does see that Stark is sending a forward villager to chop a tree in the middle of the map. Of course, this is the most efficient place to take wood on the map. Your villager only has to walk halfway across the map to drop the wood in the town center, whereas if Stark were chopping here, he would have to go across the entire map. So this is definitely an efficient lumber camp placement. But we will see him build a monastery, and if Viper could probably palisade that straggler tree, then go kill the villager. Oh, I would love to see him do... Well, yes he can, his scout only has 2 HP. And if his scout had more HP, I'd like to see that. But now he knows that Stark is going for that monk rush, and there we go, up to the Imperial Age, as we have monastery in the front, university in the back. Stark won't see that because he lost his scout, but generally you kind of put the university in the back just to hide it. Lots of villagers on gold because you're going for monks. Nice use of the extra berries there. And see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4 villagers on wood, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 farms or so. And he's adding in right now a second monastery. If you had seen your opponent maybe say if you had scouted them going for scouts, you might be able to add in a barracks at this point to make some spearmen. Or if you scouted them doing something else, maybe you could respond with maybe an early siege workshop. But there's a bit of flexibility here as you're making the buildings. But the main point is we see Viper putting down his monasteries, and pretty much will be maybe 1 round of monks behind Stark. So you get your monks out pretty much at the same time as someone who is going for the Castle Age monk rush, but they soon become Imperial Age monks. And we see that villager might be killed by the scout. Nope, but it will delay the monastery slightly. And we see Atonement immediately coming in for the Viper. And the question is, will Stark have Atonement this early? Looks like he does. And we see 20 minutes flat for the Imperial Age for the Viper. And monks will start to convert each other as that monk runs away. And Stark will just right-click that monk. Stark not paying attention to his monk, and he does lose it as it was chasing this monk instead of converting that one. Viper immediately deletes the monk so it doesn't get converted back. And kind of that early map control we saw from Stark there. Now Viper has his monks out, is able to combat that, and right in 10 seconds we'll see him get up to the Imperial Age. Will Viper pay attention to that monk and stop it from taking the relic? 20 minutes, Imperial Age, and right away, okay, he's doing more monks, but we see the Siege Workshop coming out. We see block printing being done in the university for a +3 range, and we see some eco upgrades, Bowsaw, Wheelbarrow. I know Viper really likes to do Wheelbarrow on these 1TC builds. Now Outpost from Stark, and 9 range, soon to become 12, versus 9 range. These monks do have Sanctity, but the nice thing for Viper, there's no point in him doing Sanctity because monks don't do damage, they just convert. So no light cav or anything out for Stark, just monks, so the extra HP doesn't matter. Because Stark again did lose the scout earlier. Well, now that will matter because the scout got converted, but we see conversions coming in. And there we go, longer range. These monks are safe because they can't be converted from that far away. And 3 conversions there for the Viper compared to only 1 for Stark. And again, monk converting from really far away. Gets the scout again. Scout will kill a monk. And that monk gets immediately converted by Stark. The scout killing more of Stark's monks. Stark has a monk inside of Viper's base. Viper is still producing from 2 monasteries. We see him doing chemistry right now, as he'll want to get out bombard cannons. And Stark does have an advantage in monks right now. But let's see, these ones, they're not converting, they're just walking forward. No. Outpost, another one coming up for Stark. It's really nice to have those outposts up, because look at all this vision he has, especially with the Freetown Watch for the Byzantines. And that scout about to be converted back, now it's on stand ground, it's not attacking the monk. There we go. But, let's see, 7 to 10 military, so at this point I think Viper has actually more monks out than Stark, despite Stark going for 4 monasteries and Viper only going for 2, unless he has another one hidden somewhere. Nope, only 2 monasteries. And Siege Workshop will soon be making bombard cannons once that chemistry upgrade is complete. And these monks just keep converting each other back and forth. And Viper now clearly is winning. Because we saw him do chemistry, not chemistry, block printing, and also, let's see, what does he have? Illumination. So he prioritized block printing for the +3 range and illumination for the extra speed on the faith regeneration. Stark's monks regenerate faith pretty slowly, but Viper's monks, let's see, regenerate a bit more quickly. That's actually like really fast once you get that tech. And 1 more monk in control of Stark. So Stark does have 3 relics, but let's see, yeah, not in the forward monasteries. Did a good job putting them in the back monasteries. But is denied from getting this one that was a lot closer to his base than to Viper's base. But if you look at the score difference, that's +500 for the Viper. And now what is Stark doing to counter this? He has 3 stables in his base and he's going for Scout Cavalry. Viper now going for Redemption so that he can convert buildings. And let's see, he's getting bombard cannons coming out. Look at Viper's economy. These few villagers still down here chopping wood. Still, same number of farms we saw earlier. Viper's added a few more to wood. He will need that bit of extra wood to make the bombard cannons. And other than that, villagers mostly going to gold. Hasn't done loom until now. Now he's doing sanctity. Has he been able to see the stables? No. But at this point, you have the extra gold. Might as well do sanctity. You can pretty much guess that your opponent isn't going to be going into monks forever, even if you don't explicitly scout it. And Siege Workshop in the middle of the base. The one thing I'm worried about for Viper is that he doesn't have any barracks and he hasn't switched to spearmen or pikemen yet. I think versus someone who is making scout cav, would be nice to get a few pikemen out right away just to help defend your monks. Now, still pretty big score difference here. And yep, there's the barracks right away. I think maybe putting the barracks down before the Siege Workshop might have been a better option there, but again, he hasn't really scattered too far into Stark's base. He does see the stable now. That's why he's putting down the barracks, because he sees the stable. But he hasn't seen 3 stables. Maybe he can guess Stark really wants to go heavy into stables. But it would be nice just to move these monks. They're standing here not doing anything. Maybe do a bit of scouting with them. But anyway, does Stark know about what's in the back of his base? He does. Good. Alright, now that gate about to go down. And now we'll take out the monasteries before moving in. Now has 1 spearman out, but that 1 spearman essentially would be trading a bombard cannon for a couple more spearmen. And in this situation, the spearman would probably be more useful, as would a pikeman upgrade. Oh, and as the nice use of the surprise monks out of the monasteries to get 2 converts on the bombard cannons from Stark. And immediately they go down, get deleted so they're not converted back. But great job, that's 225 wood and 225 gold each. That is really expensive when you're on 1 town center. And it's going to slow Viper down a bit. And now he's continuing to push in, and the big question is, Viper now he sees there are 3 stables there. Stark has lots and lots of scouts. Now even Byzantine monks won't be able to heal that quickly. And Stark just... You know, the nice thing about converting that scout is that the spearmen are back and not forward. Now, ejects the scouts, gets conversions with his monks, letting them out of the monastery, lets all of his units out at one time. Stark goes in for the kill against these monks. And look, Viper does get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 conversions on those scouts. And now the monks are actually healing Viper's scouts, but Stark also has monks healing his own scouts, and it looks like Stark is finally going to clean this up. Scouts now targeting the bombard cannon as they were firing on the clump of monks. And the Viper's army is cleaned up when we see that score lead swinging right back just for a moment was in the favor of Stark. But the one thing that Stark did to defend against that and to produce all of those scouts, he also stayed on one town center. Now not only is he on one town center, but he's one town center in the Castle Age versus someone who's one town center in the Imperial Age. Now Viper is adding in his second town center, but Stark only has a 5 villager lead as he adds in 2 more. So that lead will get bigger over time, but right now Viper going to have to find a way to defend himself because this large army of scouts and monks, they will soon be knocking down these walls. And remember, all of Viper's resources are forward. He's at a villager disadvantage. His only real advantage right now is that he is in the Imperial Age. And let's see, does he have the wood? Doesn't have the stone, Dad. Does he have... Probably sold 100 stone while he was going up to the Imperial Age, so he can only afford one town center right now. And he spent so much villager time mining this gold that it is about to run out. His forward buildings have been cleaned up, and now Stark is coming forward, and he's going to build a castle right on Viper's face. He knows the monasteries are right here, going to try to castle it. Oh, but could the bombard cannon one-shot the castle? That would be awful for Stark. He needs to be really careful to keep the castle alive. Maybe time the villagers, just so that it's not shooting at the castle as... Oh no. How much damage does the bombard cannon do? I think the castle has enough HP on it right now, but that was risky. And I mean, if anything, Stark probably wants to get the castle even a bit more forward so he can hurt that gold. But I guess the gold is going to run out pretty soon. And oh, he has his own converted bombard cannon he can use to help fight this bombard cannon anyway. So now Viper going to lose control of the front part of his base. Stark doing a great job going to control the extra resources. That's one thing that often if you're pressuring someone on the front of their base, they're going to lose these resources. So you kind of try to be real sneaky, get outside your base, get up to this gold, take it without your opponent noticing, but now Stark is going to notice it. And if anything, he could maybe build some stone walls around it, try to lame it. He could do the same thing down by this gold. As Viper's now going to this other stone, the only other one inside of his walls. And Stark just going to build a lumber camp in the middle of the map, make sure these villagers do something. And it's the only problem with how forward this castle is that Viper can get to it from inside of his walls with the bombard cannons. Monks can now try to convert, but they are only Castle Age monks. And Viper even can convert the monks back from all this 12 range. So we see this Imperial Age advantage. Bombard cannons allowing Viper to put the pressure on the forward castle. Now before I was thinking maybe that castle was not forward enough, but now I'm thinking maybe it's too far forward. Maybe castle right in the middle of the map would have been better. Then you can just kind of let this gold run out. Because now that gold's out, and what's that castle doing? It's pressuring a couple of monasteries, but do you really need to pressure monasteries with a castle? It's more, you want to secure part of the map for yourself. Anyway, we see Stark still only 5 villagers ahead, despite having that extra town center, and only now doing wheelbarrow. We saw Viper do wheelbarrow a long time ago, so he's had, now with the 3rd town center, he's had wheelbarrow villagers working for quite a long time. And Stark's going to mine that stone at the front of Viper's base as Viper continues to shoot bombard cannonballs at that castle and take HP off of it. Now, is the Viper walled over here? No, he is open. There's no villager around that, so Stark could try to run the light cav in snipe the bombard cannons or snipe the monks. But he's just going to content himself with repairing that castle. As it's slowly, let's see, the bombard cannon is making progress. It's just kind of hovering around that 4,000 HP mark. Now he's using his own bombard cannon to clean up the monastery. Now, it'd be good if he could clean up the monastery, because that means he can run the light cav in. But Viper has started adding in a few more spearmen, and here come the light cav. Viper doing elite skirmisher, Stark doing the attack upgrade. Viper has to bring the cannons back. Viper goes for the converts. And the monks are now going down. The light cav are in, but did Viper get enough converts that he'll be able to hold this off? Not quite, maybe. He'll lose one bombard cannon, but two more are able to retreat, get into the town center. They will take out the monks and clean up the light cav, but he did lose, well, I guess that could have gone a lot worse for Viper. He did lose all the monks, but the important thing is he kept some of the bombard cannons alive. See if Stark's able here, maybe to steal that relic. That would be nice. I don't think Viper's gonna let that. Oh, and he gets another convert. That's not good for Viper, as now this bombard cannon is on low HP. He needs to repair it. And Stark has gotten that castle back up almost to full health. It is, of course, a Byzantines castle, so it does have that extra HP. Stark forced away from that stone mine, but now another great outpost from Stark. I love the way he's keeping track of all of these extra resources, making sure he knows if Viper tries to go for them. Still, even in villagers, even in military, but being even is not a good thing for Stark because he's an age behind. He's doing town patrol. Wants to get even more line of sight on those outposts. That's not a technology you see every day. And Viper's going for barracks, going for archery ranges. He'll be going for elite skirmishers and I guess pikemen, because what does he not have? Gold. Luckily for the Byzantine player, their trash units are cheaper. And now Stark, with 3 relics, could take that 4th one. And where is the... I don't see where the other relic is anymore. And now bringing his own bombard cannon forward. He sees the skirmishers and the pikemen. And what's he doing? Still trying to convert the bombard cannon, won't quite get it. And these bombard cannons are really the main advantage right now for Viper, as both of them pretty low on military counts. Stark can't really push into the bombard cannons because he doesn't have the gold units he would need. And he can't really, Viper can't really push out because that castle's there. Would love to see Stark just put some walls around that gold. Around that gold too. We see him going up with another outpost, just again trying to keep track of what Viper's doing. He's going up to the Imperial Age as Viper's doing some more upgrades and coming out again to try and pressure that castle. And how is Stark going to react to that? Will he use his monks to try to convert? He's just going to keep the bombard cannon there. I mean, this is a situation where you might want to just take a group of monks and go for the fast group conversion instead of sending them one at a time. Of course, you don't have theocracy yet, but it's so important just to force the cannons away. There we go, getting one conversion there, killing a monk, and now running away with the light cav. That'll keep the castle up. As another cannon comes out for the Viper. These cannons, they're so expensive, and Viper has to use all of his gold on them. Does he have another monastery in the back? No, it doesn't look like Viper has a monastery anymore. So if Stark can get some good shots with this bombard cannon, want to keep it repaired. But yeah, now we'll see Viper breaking out of the top of his base, and he is going to put up a castle of his own. Was able to take stone from here earlier, so Viper now will be putting up a castle, and Stark only with light cav. I don't think he'll be able to stop that from going up. He does know it's there, and now he's putting down an archery range of his own in the middle of the map as Viper is doing Bracer to get that final upgrade on his skirmishers. Stark will lose a villager there, and of course now he does know that Viper's there, but he hasn't done enough of laming, in my opinion. He's going to let Viper get back and take those resources. Meanwhile, Stark says, okay, you can have that side of the map. I'm going to send light cav in and raid your base. But Viper, he's going for the quick walls, and he will get them up in time. Another quick wall there, and even before gates, you can still have obnoxious quick walls all over the place. Or, well, I guess there are gates, but you couldn't rotate them freely like you can now. And now Viper's castle is up, and Viper now has access to gold again. Now it's Stark's turn to pause, pull his own little back. And again, we see bombard cannons, this Imperial Age upgrade focusing that castle. Stark is doing the upgrades for his monks, but you really have to wonder, with all of these elite skirmishers out, are the monks still going to be useful? Definitely not as much as they were in early Imperial Age. But the important thing probably right now is block printing, so that you can actually convert the bombard cannons from a distance. And Stark, can he get a good bombard cannon shot there? It looks like he will, yes. And now he's going to start trebbing down Viper's castle as Viper gets out his own treb. Again, trebs, such an expensive unit. Viper somehow needs to keep those trebs being produced when he only has access to 1 gold. Stark, meanwhile, a few idle villagers in the economy. Both players are going a bit idle with how much micro they're doing, but Stark can take these extra resources from the back of his base, and he was able to take that gold from the front of his base, and he's out here taking the other gold in front of his base. So great job with this forward pressure. He might not have been able to kill Viper, but at least it gave him control of the resources in front of his base. And he still does have the score lead. Doesn't have the military lead, though. All those cheap trash units really start to add up after a while. Trying to get some bombard cannon hits on the skirmishers. There's now castle being trebbed down. Stark trying to add in more siege workshops. What's he doing? Is he doing capped rams? He's going for rams. I guess that's pretty nice when you're just against mostly skirmishers and cannons. And that cannon going down for Stark. And Viper is going to try to run in with the light cap. And Viper doing a great job building a wall around his trebuchets so the light cap can't get to them. And, that's a low HP treb for Stark. He doesn't have the villagers there to repair it like Viper does. Viper gets out another treb, and slowly but surely Viper, using those cheap trash units to get a military advantage. Those trash units really kind of nullify the monks because you can convert them and it doesn't matter because they're trash units. Meanwhile, Stark going for chain, barding armor, and siege ram. He has only 1 ram created so far, so it's not like he's going to be able to do a big ram push and clean this up, as Viper has retaken the score lead, is behind by about 20 villagers though, but does have that score lead as right now Stark doing a whole bunch of Imperial Age upgrades. That's kind of probably why he took the score lead right there, because Stark spent all those resources on upgrades, but he won't get the upgrade score until he actually finishes them. But no, it is a Byzantines castle, but it is going down. The ram, could the ram kill the treb? Not quite. Not quite enough rams there. Pikemen were able to take it out. And Stark has some skirmishers of his own, but he needs elite skirmisher, which he's doing right now. Doing crop rotation. So, crop rotation means you're gonna play a really long game. Normally you don't see crop rotation done in a 1v1. This castle still staying up. Stark's just managing to hold it. 2 trebuchets is something against which you definitely can repair, but if Viper is able to get out a 3rd, add in a bombard cannon, then Stark's going to be in trouble. As we see him adding in rams of his own, doing forging, Stark's doing husbandry, and bracer. So Stark's just doing all the upgrades. And it's still 3 relics to 0 relics. Not sure what happened to that 5th relic. One's in Viper's base. 3 of them are... Stark just left a monk holding a relic here this entire game instead of garrisoning it. At this point in the game, that's probably maybe several hundred gold, 1,000 gold that relic would have generated for him. If it's been there for a while, that's a really big mistake. You normally don't press idle military like you do idle villagers, and it's just kind of hiding there behind the monastery, so it's really hard to notice. And now we're going to see big ram push by the Viper. Made the rams before investing in siege ram, so he will have more rams out. So we'll see light cav, skirmisher, and monk versus rams. Oh, look at those rams. Couldn't decide to go forward or backwards. Now the siege rams coming out for Stark. Really wants to go for the trebs, but siege ram completes for the Viper, and he has to go back. And slowly but surely, Viper's trying to clean up these buildings, take more control of the middle of the map. And that's a doubt mining camp if I've ever seen one. See, siege workshops going down to the rams. Stark losing his own rams, just as these skirmishers really can't engage with the light cav because the halbs are there. He needs to use the skirms to target down the halbs. So he's continuing to make more rams, but let's see. Halb immediately going for the ram. And now Viper able to clean up these buildings fairly well. But Stark is doing plate guarding armor. Let's see what he's doing back here. He has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stables. And Stark does have a bit of gold left over, right? Because he does have these 6 tiles of gold in the back of his base. He could even mine this stone and sell it if he wants to. So what's he going to do from these stables? I mean, Byzantines, they do have Paladin, but they don't have Bloodlines and they don't have Blast Furnace, so they really aren't good Paladin. But that being said, they are still Paladin. And as Viper's Halberdier number has dropped off a bit, kind of some Cavaliers, some Paladin, even just some +2 Knights would probably clean up almost all of Viper's army at this point. Just Stark needs some way to mix in gold units. He has control of gold, but isn't able to spend it. Meanwhile, Viper, if you look at the total resources they've gathered, Viper actually has a lot more wood gathered. Stark has a bit more gold. And, no. Mouse wheel up apparently doesn't reset the overlay to the original one. No, that's not the one. There we are. Alright, now these buildings from Stark being cleaned up as Viper's moving forward with his skirms and with his trebs and with his siege rams and with his halberdier. He is losing this gold from outside of his base, but importantly, he is able to get at least 1 pile of gold, and Viper now himself also doing crop rotation. As we see, fortified wall from Stark. Of course, he is a player who loves his fortified walls. Ooh, these villages have been idle for a really long time. But fortified wall, Stark's adding in some archery ranges, and he's doing Cavalier. So we will see some Byzantines Cavalier, and probably he has a lot of gold. Maybe he's going for Paladin after that. He might be thinking Viper has a lot of trash units, we'll do some Paladin to clean up the trash units. But the problem is, Viper is at 200 pop, Stark is at 160 pop with 149 villagers, has 15 military against Viper's 85 military. Now Viper does have only trash, so if Stark can make gold units, he might be able to clean it up. He has all this gold, but he's not spending it on anything. See, just more siege workshops in the middle of his base. Viper now, he has control of the map, but that's not as valuable now. One thing he will have is access to this gold of Stark's, but now rams coming into Stark's base, taking out even the fortified walls. Not even fortified walls can stop siege rams. Stark's going to have to wall behind that. Will lose the 3 relics he had in those monasteries. Still hasn't noticed this monk hanging out there behind the monastery, just chilling there with that relic for the entire game. He must be getting tired. Just like, just put it down. Just put it in the monastery. And as the rams are going to push in, and there we go. Paladin upgrade from Stark, guilds from the Viper. So he will want to get those better market prices, because he's probably been selling a lot at the market without access to gold. And oh, that monk finally. Man, you've been holding the relic the entire game, and he's just gonna get taken out by that halb. That's cold. Let's see, so all of Stark's forward pretty much cleaned up at this point. Viper now has access to his own gold and to Stark's gold. Really big kill-death advantage. And Stark's going to build a castle in the middle of his base, try to do whatever he can just to slow down that push a bit. And he's building his Cavalier. He's going to have to build quite a few Cavalier before he pushes out with them. Stark's been on such a low population this entire game. So we'll see Cavalier and Skirmisher spam. I guess he just never really had control of the middle enough to produce from those buildings. He lost that kind of a first fight as Viper was pushing out, and after that kept trying to retreat and build units, but never really was able to get up to the massive units that he needed to fight properly. Now the Viper is pushing in with some siege rams. Bombard cannons actually can do a bit of damage to the siege rams. As we see, that's good, like 50 or so damage. Or maybe it's actually just the 40 like they normally do. But it's not the 1 damage that these skirmishers do. And as long as it doesn't take out bombard cannons, Stark will be okay. But it is chasing right after those bombard cannons, trying to get them. But no, it does go down. And Viper, at least he does control these relics and that gold, but he's pushing in with skirmishers, and he's doing hoardings to give more HP for his castles and scale parting armor to upgrade his horse units, as he's now pushing in from the other side with some rams, trying to take out the archery ranges and the production buildings. Meanwhile, Stark has a few paladin, but not really a good mass of them. He does have a lot of resources, but is not producing from the stables yet. As Viper is just continuing to push in with skirmishers, and he has a few trebs, and even he is stealing the relics, going to take them for himself. He has 2, that will be his 3rd. And the trebs are launching at that castle, starting to take it down. Stark, even before it gets hit, already has villagers there waiting to repair it. Just needs to right-click it one more time, and there we go. With only 2 trebuchets, Stark should be able to repair without too much issue as long as he pulls in a few more villagers. We see Viper now doing the cavalry upgrades: thumb ring, chain barding armor, husbandry. And let's see, skirmisher is able to take out the halbs, are they? Can these rams make it to the trebs? Can the monks stand next to the rams and convert them? No, so could this ram make it to a treb? Looks like it will. And this one treb, nope, not going to go down. Ram's there. Oh, look at that. That's cataphracts. Oh, I love seeing cataphracts. Viper is now going for elite cataphracts. Don't often see those in a 1v1, but I guess the situation is calling for it because he probably just thinks he's ahead enough he can do it. Just wants to flex a bit. He's now the paladin. How is Stark going to engage with them? Looks like he's going to leave this part of his base and try to come around the back of the back. Oh, but the rams do clean up the trebuchets. And see, that one ram is moving. Okay, as long as that one ram doesn't take out the castle, looks like it won't. But now Stark has cleaned up this part of the map as Viper was making that transition. Had to back off a bit as he was transitioning, but now could Stark have an opportunity to push out, as these paladin though are just running around inside of his base, not being used yet. Stark is trying to send some skirmishers to raid, but Viper will spot that and immediately clean it up with these cataphracts. See those skirmishers going down, and now Viper is grouping up his army near the front of Stark's base. Really, Stark has a bunch of skirmishers, but once Viper moves some cataphracts up, they will all be cleaned up. Stark can kill a few villagers here, but at this point, it's not going to matter too much. But what Stark really wants to do is reclaim that gold. He's down to not too much gold remaining at the back of his base, and he has lost the relics. Viper does now have 3 relics. But now what can these paladin do? We're going to see, I guess, paladin versus cataphract, both of them fully upgraded as far as the Byzantines can upgrade them. Now the paladin do have 10 extra HP and 2 extra attack and extra pierce armor, but the cataphracts do trample damage and have a bonus versus infantry if Stark were to add in some halbs or pikemen. And now Stark regaining this gold, building a castle in front of it, is doing what he can to take control of the map. That cataphract transition really did manage to slow down the Viper a bit. And now he's continuing to add in more more halberdiers, as he's just patrolling around with a big group of cataphract. Can't really engage with them yet. Stark's trying to come forward with the paladin. Will retreat after seeing a few halbs. Let's see, can either player afford to engage here? It's Viper who has that trebuchet, so he's really the one who's going to force Stark to make a move. Stark's trying to put down more siege workshops. I feel like Viper's resources are pretty good. Stark's are not quite as high, really a bit tighter on the gold. At least he is mining gold though. And now Viper is sending only some of his cataphracts forward, not all of them at once, but he does have enough halbs here. Those halbs will probably make him able to clean up the paladin. that one ram going down. And big fight now between the paladin and the cataphracts, as it looks like Viper might be taking that because he has the halbs in the back. Probably will lose all of the cataphracts, but Stark looks like he's losing all of his paladins as well. So both armies traded. No, they did get cleaned up. Maybe Stark won that fight a bit more than Viper, but then again, if we look at the differences in military, you see Stark has been able to come back. Viper now the one only at 150 population. So could Stark come back now? He has a bit of momentum. He's pushing out with the paladin, taking out these rams, securing these forward siege workshops, building some buildings in the front of his base. See, he's cleaned up Viper's gold villages down there with the paladin, but has a few rams out. So how is Viper going to respond to this? The big advantage right now are those trebs, but Stark has that bombard cannon there. And a few halbs still forcing the paladin back. But Viper, he's trying to repair that monastery, as it has 2 relics in it. I guess Viper would need to maybe take a relic back to this monastery. But for right now, Stark managing to reclaim a bit of his map, get back into this game. If we check resources, Viper still floating a bit of food. Stark pretty much 0 resources other than a bit of wood. So Viper is still probably in a better position, but Stark is managing to come back, and we see Viper just doing everything, taking the relics from that monastery, putting them in a safer place. Does have kind of a low number of cataphracts at this point. Stark doing tracking even to upgrade his infantry. And see, a few skirmishers getting picked off here and there. If you look at Stark, he has a few idols in the back. Both players with a good number of idle villages, not managing them completely. But Stark's economy mostly just food and wood at this point. Viper probably will be able to take a bit more gold from this at some point, considering he has 2 castles protecting it. But let's see, has Stark recaptured? Looks like Stark did recapture the relics, so now it's 3-2 in relics. So Viper still, I think with the relics, has a slight edge here. Both players have regained their population up to around 200 pop, and we could see potentially a large battle right here in the middle of the map as Stark is pushing forward with his rams and his paladin, and will he commit everything here? Viper not quite engaging right there. Rams coming here to meet Viper's rams, and now Viper's coming in from behind. Stark going to commit everything he has right here, going for one big push. Viper not quite engaging fully. Might have deleted that barracks to give himself a better room to engage. Trying to go after the skirmishers with the cataphracts so they can't kill the halbs. Meanwhile, Stark is setting his rams at the castle. Looks like the castle probably will go down. Stark is doing halberdier, but now Viper has a bunch of halbs mixed in. And these halbs probably will kill the paladin? Yes, it looks like they will. That was a huge engagement, and Stark just lost that quite decisively. Viper, halbs, and cataphracts beating paladins and skirms. Now these rams doing a lot of damage to the castle, but the rams will go down. Maybe even the castle will go down. Only 1 ram left. Can it kill the castle? Now this villager is repairing it, so all that army, and Stark can't even kill 1 single castle. And that is probably the GG right there. Viper's taking a pretty big score lead, has a big pop lead, and we'll probably just see him push forward now. Stark finally has halbs, but he needed those halbs a bit earlier to help fight against Viper's halbs. And we'll see, does Stark resign, or does he stay behind the fortified walls for a long time, or does he find some way to come back? There's now 85 to 55. It's not like Stark has a small military, but it's just can't really fight Vipers at this point. And Viper can now start bringing the trebuchets forward to take out this castle. It's only on about half HP right now. Oh man, but look at those Byzantine castles though. 8,131 hit points. And now big engagement here. Difference is cataphracts actually do a great job of killing halbs. You kind of still have to make halbs to fight cataphracts, but they certainly do better than paladin. And looks like Viper will take out that castle now with 2 trebs, more siege rams pushing in from behind. And there goes the castle. That's trouble. GG. GG from both players. And yeah, so I really like that game. It's a nice Byzantines war. And Byzantines are just such a wonderful save. You can do so much with them, such as going for fast Imperial, monk rush, and then still having options to defend, even if you lose all of your monks, or at least you can defend if you are Viper. But anyway, let's look at the achievements. You see military. Actually, KD not quite as one-sided as I thought it would have been at the end. I guess big difference there is converts. Buildings raised. Viper killed a lot of buildings though and did have the larger army. Oh, actually converts were pretty even. Not sure where that huge difference. Okay, well I guess maybe the converts, that's about 40 and 40, yeah, so that makes sense. Economy-wise, st4rk had the better economy, but just couldn't really use it that effectively as he was getting pushed back and losing all of his production buildings. But the main thing here, we see Viper, 15-minute Castle Age, 20-minute Imperial Age. And Relic Gold. See, st4rk probably would have had about 1,000 more Relic Gold if he had just not forgotten about that one relic. Went for the classic st4rk over Boom, 151. Villagers, and we see, look at the difference in that imp time, 20 minutes versus like 40-something minutes. Anyway, hope you guys enjoyed that. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you later.